Welcome one and all. Welcome to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. I am your host, Kevin King. He is I, and I am him, the 800 Credit Score Man himself. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming in, tuning in to the 800 Credit Score Man Show. Every Saturday, you guys, at 1:30 Central Standard Time, 1:30 Central Standard Time, every Saturday, come here and meet me here to listen to the 800 Credit Score Man Show, a show that's dedicated to helping each and every one of you to restore your credit, to get your credit scores to where you want them to be, which in turn will save you money in the end. So let me ask you guys a question. Have you decided it's time to get your credit back, your good credit back? I mean, are you absolutely committed to getting your credit swagger back? Have you ever started to work on your credit, but you got discouraged? You just didn't know where to go or who to trust? Well, you're in the right place right here, right now with the 800 Credit Score Man Show. So welcome in. Today, I want to share with you how to establish, restore, revitalize your credit. So let's jump right into it. Let's go. So the first thing, if you've had some issues in the past, currently have some issues, or even if you found a bankruptcy, what's the first thing that you want to do to try to establish some credit? You need to show people that you are worthy of being granted credit and you will actually pay them back. So one of the easiest things to do is to get a store card. Now, when I say a store credit card, I mean a place like a Target or Sears, maybe a Neiman Marcus or a Kohl's. It appears that those kinds of places are a little bit easier for you to get approved at when you're looking to try to get a card and maybe establish some credit. So try getting a store card. And I want to caution you guys, that doesn't mean go out and apply for a store card at every single one of these places. Apply for one. And if you get it, great. That doesn't mean go and apply for another one right down the street same day. Don't do that. Just go ahead and apply for one because you want to start establishing some credit. Now, with store cards, your interest rates are typically higher than with the regular credit card. They're going to be typically higher no matter how good or bad your credit is or your credit score is. They're going to be a little bit higher than what you would normally get from a regular credit card. But that's not why you're getting it. You're not getting it because you absolutely have to have it and you need to use it. You're getting it because the goal is to reestablish your credit and to get your credit scores up. So try that. Try a store card. That's one of the best ways, the absolute best ways, and maybe the easiest way for you to start establishing some credit. Now, when I say establishing credit, this is good for people that have filed bankruptcy, people that are having issues right now, maybe for some of the millennials out there that just graduated high school, maybe you're in college, just graduated college, and you have a lack of credit history. These tips are good for each and every one of these categories. So start with a store card. A second thing you can do is to get a regular or a traditional credit card. And that would be from one of the banks. And I don't have to go through all the banks. You see the commercials on TV. You drive down the street and every bank has a credit card. So you can get a credit card potentially from a bank. Depending on what your credit score is, what your history is like, you may be able to get a credit card from there. Now, some of them are going to have high interest rates as well. If you have lack of credit or have had some issues in the past, your interest rates are going to be a lot higher than someone that has a good credit score. And that's just obvious what's going to happen. But what you'll be able to do is to establish credit, because that's the whole point for you, is to be able to establish credit. Now, when you do so, maybe in the future, you'll be able to talk to that particular creditor and say, hey, I've been a good steward over my credit card with you guys. I'd like a lower rate. So that may happen for you in the future. Now, here's a third thing that you could do when it comes to establishing credit, and that is getting a secured card. Now, some people aren't absolutely positive what a secured card is, so let me go through this just a little bit for you. So a secured card is where you basically give this particular company, say $500. You give them $500. That's now your limit. You get the secured card. So you'll be able to use it. It's not like a prepaid card. If you went to, pick a place, a Myers or a Walmart or something, and picked up one of those cards, it's not a prepaid card. You're going to give these people $500. That's your limit. So then you're going to make payments on that $500 or whatever you spend on that card, but that's going to be your limit. So let's say you did give them $500 and you went out and spent $100 on it. So the next month, you're going to make a payment on that particular card, with your balance being $100. So that payment could be $20, that payment could be $35, whatever that payment is, you're going to make that payment on the card. But your limit is that $500, and you gave them that money. That was your money. Unlike a traditional card where they give you, a limit, and then you go out and you spend that money, and you only pay back, what you spent. It's a little bit different with the secure card, because with the secure card, that's your money. You already put it in there, and that makes your limit. So you may be able to do a secure card for $800, $500, $1,500. Just depends on how much money you have to actually give them, and they're going to hold on to it for you. So, and that'll become your limit. So that's what a secure card is. Now, the only thing you have to do with a secure card is to make sure that they actually report to the credit bureaus. So when you go to apply for a secure card, you need to ask that critical question, because the whole point and purpose, again, the goal is for you guys to establish or reestablish your credit. So it does you no good if they don't report to the credit bureaus. So you need to ask them if they report to the credit bureaus. It'll be a good idea to ask them if they report to all three credit bureaus. There is TransUnion, there is Equifax, there is Experian. You need to ask them if they're going to report to all three credit bureaus for you. So a secure card is a good way to go. So when it comes to that secure card, make sure that they do report to all three of them, and then that'll help you establish or start to establish some credit. Now, the three things that I just mentioned, the store card, the credit card, and even the secure card, are all revolving debt. There's different types of debt, really two. So you have revolving, and then you have installment loans as well. So revolving are your credit cards, things of that nature. And then you have installment loans. Now, installment loans are like your automobiles, your mortgage. If you got a second mortgage, a student loan is an installment loan. So those kinds of things where you have a fixed payment, you have that fixed payment over a particular term. So if you pay $250 a month for your vehicle and you do that for the next 5 years, that's an installment loan. So the next thing I want to move to kind of tell you a little bit about is a personal loan. Potentially, you can get a personal loan. There are places that specialize in giving people loans, even if they've had bad credit. Typically, they compete with banks on that regard. So the only way that they have to compete is by allowing people to have a loan that have lower credit scores. So if you have a lower credit score, you potentially can get a personal loan from one of those types of companies. They're financial companies. The interest rates are outrageous. Doesn't matter if you have good credit or fair credit or poor credit. The interest rates are outrageous, but you may be able to get a personal loan. Now, one of the suggestions that I would have for you if we were to do that is to make sure that you go with someplace that, again, they are going to report to the credit bureau. But any established place that may be connected to a bank or they are, owned by a banking institution, they're absolutely going to be reporting your personal loan to the credit union. So if you're able to do that, I wouldn't suggest going in and taking out as much money as they say you can have. If they say that you're approved for $1,500, maybe you don't need $1,500. Maybe you only want $500 because your goal is to establish or reestablish or to restore your credit. It's not for you to get a bunch of money so you can go out and, buy a bunch of toys for your kids or whatever it is. That's not what the goal is. The goal is for you to establish your credit. So personal loans are a good way for you to go ahead and establish some credit. So I'm going to stop right here at that one. I've already given you four ways where you can establish or reestablish your credit. So I'm going to jump to some shout outs really quick, and we'll jump back into some ways for you to help you establish your credit. I've got to shout out Indiana University. Today is homecoming for Indiana University in Bloomington, Indiana, and I can't mention IU without mentioning the mighty men of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the Alpha chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, my chapter, y'all. So I want to give those couple shouts out now. And since I'm at it, I want to shout out the whole Divine Nine that are down there. I know that the tailgate is going on before the game. So IU, let's get a win today. All right, so let's jump into what's next. So we were talking about revolving. When we talked about your store cards or your credit cards or your secured cards, there's also the personal loans that is an installment. Now, the next thing you could do, you could get a cosigner or become a cosigner on someone else's loan. So we just talked about a personal loan. If you go into a place and they say, no, you cannot have a personal loan by yourself, but if you had a cosigner, someone with better credit than yourself, then we may possibly grant you a loan. So you could get a cosigner. Hopefully you know some people that are in your life that have good credit and that they actually trust you to go ahead and take out a loan. So you can become a cosigner, or you can get someone to cosign for you to help you establish some credit. Now the whole cosigner thing is very interesting because there's got to be a lot of trust when it comes to cosigning on both ends, actually. So you got to trust the person that, you know, you're going to co-sign with, so they don't flip out on you at one turn and say, well, hey, I want you to pay this whole thing off right now because I'm just not comfortable with you paying it on a monthly basis, and I don't know if you're paying it on time, and I don't know how it's affecting my credit. So there's a trust factor when it comes to co-signing. I wrote an article about this particular subject about co-signing. I will post it to Facebook and Twitter. So catch me on Facebook at 800 Credit Score Man on Facebook. On Twitter, I'm at Credit Score _man on Twitter. So catch me on Twitter and on Facebook, and I will post this article that I wrote about co-signing. I forget the title of it right now, but it's co-signing, and if you want to do it or do you not want to do it, and some suggestions on how to feel more comfortable and have some peace of mind if you are a cosigner. So I'm running through these really quickly, you guys. So that's 5 different things right there that you can do to establish or reestablish credit, to restore, revitalize your credit. So let me add one right here, and I'm going to talk about autos. So of course, you can always go out and buy your automobile. Now, you can have bad credit and find a place that will finance you for an automobile. And the reason they do that is because they actually have some collateral. If you take their car, they can always come back and get it. They'll get the car back from you if you don't pay, and they'll resell it. So they can always do those things. Now, you can't go to one of these buy here, pay here kind of places. They do not report to the credit bureau, so it does you no good at all to get a car there. So you need to go to a regular establishment and get a car loan if you need a car. And that doesn't mean go out and get a car. Kind of like when I was talking about with the store cards, if I didn't mention it, I meant to say don't go to like a jewelry store and get one of those store cards, because your point and purpose is to reestablish your credit or to establish credit. So don't go get a jewelry store card where you're going to buy something that you don't actually need, that may be high priced, and you might have an issue paying it back. That's not what you want to do. You want to go someplace and you can get some things that you might actually need and you might actually use. And I want to caution you to this as well. If you get a credit card and they give you a $500 limit, don't spend $500. Don't immediately go out and buy, $200 worth of stuff, and then you're back the next week and you buy another $100 worth of stuff. Do not do that. That's not going to help you establish or to raise your credit scores. And the whole point is for you to raise your credit scores. So you have to stay within 30% of whatever your balance or whatever your limit is, So 30% of whatever your limit is, that's where you want to stay at. So if you had $1,000, that's only $300. You can only spend up to $300 to get the most bang for your buck, if you will, when it comes to this particular